Marielle Franco, Portuguese pronunciation, Marielle Franco, born Marielle Francisco da Silva, the 27th of July 1979, the 14th of March 2018, was a Brazilian politician, feminist, and human rights activist. After earning a master's degree in public administration from the Fluminense Federal University, she served as a city councillor of the Municipal Chamber of Rio de Janeiro for the Socialism and Liberty Party, PSOL, from January 2017 until her death. On the 14th of March 2018, while in a car after delivering a speech, Franco and a driver were shot multiple times and killed by two murderers in another vehicle, north in Rio de Janeiro. Franco had been an outspoken critic of police brutality and extrajudicial killings, as well as the February 2018 federal intervention by Brazilian President Michel Temer in the state of Rio de Janeiro, which resulted in the deployment of the army in police operations. Franco was raised in maɾiʻɛli, slum in northern Rio de Janeiro, where she also resided for most of her life, and started to work to contribute to the household income in 1990 when she was 11 years old. Marielle gave birth to her first and only child when she was 19 years old, in 1998. Franco raised her daughter without the father's help and worked as a preschool teacher making minimum wage. In 2000, she began her pre-university studies. Following the death of a friend from a stray bullet in 2000, Franco began working in human rights activism. In 2002, she entered the Pontifical Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro on a scholarship and continued working and raising a daughter as she earned a degree in social sciences. She went on to earn a master's degree in public administration from the Fluminense Federal University. She wrote her master's thesis, titled UPP, The Reduction of the Favela to 3 Letters, on the law enforcement program to retake control of the city's favelas from gangs. Beginning in 2007, Franco worked for State Representative Marielle Franco as a consultant, and she coordinated the state legislature's Committee for the Defense of Human Rights and Citizenship. She also worked for civil society organizations, including the Brazil Foundation and the Mayer Center for Solidarity Studies and Action. In 2016, Franco ran for a seat on the Rio de Janeiro City Council in the municipal elections. As a black woman and single mother from the favelas, Franco positioned herself as a representative and defender of poor black women and people from the favelas. With over 46,500 votes, Franco was one of 51 people elected, receiving the 5th highest vote total out of more than 1,500 candidates. As a city council member, Franco fought against gender violence, for reproductive rights, and for the rights of favela residents. She chaired a Women's Defense Commission and formed part of a 4-person committee that monitored the federal intervention in Rio de Janeiro. Working with the Rio de Janeiro Lesbian Front, Franco presented a bill to create a Day of Lesbian Visibility in Rio de Janeiro in August 2017, but the bill was defeated by a vote of 19 to 17. On the 13th of March 2018, Franco spoke out on Twitter against the police violence in Rio de Janeiro, another homicide of a young man that could be credited to the police. ʻfředu was leaving church when he was killed. How many others will have to die for this war to end? Portuguese, mas a homicídio jovem que pode estar entrando para conta de Prime Minister ʻfředu estava saindo da igreja. Quantos mais vai precisar morrer para que essa guerra acabe? The next day, Franco attended a round-table discussion titled Young Black Women Moving, Power, Structures, Portuguese, Jovens Negras Movendo Estruturas. Less than 2 hours after leaving the round table, she and her driver, Anderson Pedro Gomes, were fatally shot by 2 men who were driving another car. The men fired 9 shots at them, 4 of which struck Franco, 3 in the head and 1 in the neck. Franco's press officer was next to her in the back seat and survived with injuries. Marielle Franco, a Rio de Janeiro Legislative Assembly member from PSOL who came to the scene shortly after hearing of her killing, determined that the bullets had been directed at her in a clear execution. According to the Rio de Janeiro police, the direction of the 9 shots supports the hypothesis that Franco was assassinated. The bullets that killed Franco are from a batch bought by the federal police in Brasilia in 2006, Minister of Public Security. Raul Jungmann later said that they were stolen from a post office storage facility in Paraíba, but the ministry subsequently retracted this explanation after the post office publicly denied it. In January 2019, police arrested Ronald Paulo Alves Pereira and issued a warrant for Adriano Magalhães de Nóbrega, both suspects in Franco's assassination. Each suspect received honors from President Jair Bolsonaro's son Flavio Bolsonaro in the early 2000s. In March 2019, police arrested 2 suspects, former members of the military police force, for the murder. Thousands took to the streets in coordinated protests across Brazil, and both Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch condemned the killing. Journalist Glenn Greenwald, whose husband, David Miranda, was a fellow city council member and close personal friend of Franco's, listed what he referred to as the most important subjects to cover regarding Franco's assassination, stating,
her relentless and brave activism against the most lawless police battalions, her opposition to military intervention, and, most threateningly of all, her growing power as a black, gay woman from the favela seeking not to join Brazil's power structure, but to subvert it.
A digital art workshop was held in Nairobi, Kenya, titled Portraits of Marielle, Creating Bridges Between Kenya and Brazil, with young Kenyan artists participating, and the artworks were displayed at the Museum Mayor in Rio de Janeiro on the 10th of November 2018. Amnesty International included Franco's name in its campaign for those who wrote for human rights and lost their lives, while an update was made and an online tribute listed Franco among over 400 human rights advocates for women by the Association for Women's Rights in Development. Franco identified as bisexual. In 2017, she moved to the Rio de Janeiro neighborhood of Tijuca with her partner, Mônica Teresa Benicio, and her 18-year-old daughter, Luyara Santos. Marielle and Mônica had met at a trip with friends when they were 18 and 24 years old, respectively. They had been dating for 13 years, although the relationship had often been interrupted due to the non-acceptance of their families and friends. In these times, Mônica had relationships with other women and men, and Marielle with other men. Franco and Benicio had been planning to marry in September 2019.